Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us today for another Hub 101. My name is Imani, and I'm the engagement coordinator here for the Hub team at Austin Coming Together.
Hi, I'm Zenobia, and I'm the Hub's Team Community Resource Coordinator.
Thank you. I want to go ahead and start by introducing a little bit about who we are and what we do. If you don't know, the Austin Community Hub was designed to be a dedicated space where we can engage with the members of our community. So we're here to serve as a connection between Austin residents and all of the services that are offered by ACT's network of partner organizations, such as childcare, job training, youth programs, legal assistance, and much more.
And our Hub 101s will take place twice a month on Zoom and Facebook Live. And it gives each one of you all to get the opportunity to know our different partners and get live answers to your questions.
And today we have a special one. We're joined by two of our colleagues here at ACT from the Planning and Investment team, Ethan Ramsey and Grace Cooper. G. Coop. They're going to be talking about how the Austin Neighborhood's quality of life plan is evolving and what the focus areas will be for the next 3 years. So if you have any questions during the presentation, don't hesitate to drop them in the Q&A feature on Zoom, or if you're watching live from Facebook, please drop them in the chat and we'll get to your questions at the end of the presentation. And once again, thank everybody for being here. Grace and Ethan, the floor is yours.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. We can go back a page. Today, we're going to break down the Austin Forward Together Quality of Life Plan and where it's headed in the future. So again, my name is Ethan, and I'm the Planning and Investment Manager at Austin Coming Together. And I will pass it to my colleague.
Hey, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Grace Cooper, and I'm the lead organizer at Austin Coming Together. Great. So thanks again to the Hub for having us today. We're excited to be presenting to you guys. And here are the 3 objectives that we hope you all walk away from with our presentation. So number 1 is to understand what the Austin Forward Together Quality of Life Plan is. Number 2 is understand the purpose and content of the Austin Forward Together highlighted agenda. And 3, know how to get involved in joining the Quality of Life Plan.
So what is the Quality of Life Plan? Essentially, quality of life plans are these bottom-up and comprehensive community planning efforts developed by community leaders and residents in Chicago neighborhoods. And LISC, a planning agency, provides the technical assistance throughout the process. So in each neighborhood, a designated lead agency brings together a diverse group of organizations and residents to identify priorities ranging from education, housing, broader job choices, safer streets to new economic opportunities. So ACT was chosen as the lead agency back in the day and was responsible for working with a steering committee comprised of residents to facilitate working groups and convene summits over an 18-month period of time to develop the top issue areas. So after all that hard work, Austin's first quality of life plan, named Austin Forward Together, was officially unveiled on December 18th, 2018, a day after my birthday. Now, something I think is so beautiful about this plan is that despite Austin being a very big community area geographically, this quality of life plan intentionally connects all the parts of Austin from South Austin and the Island to North Austin and Galewood. So here is the original vision for the plan, which I'll read aloud. Austin is becoming a powerful community of civically engaged residents, responsive and accountable institutions, and highly collaborative private, public, nonprofit, and faith-based leaders. And out of that power, we will create support for our youth and a high-quality cradle-to-career education system, economic revitalization for and by Austin, safe neighborhoods for all ages, a revitalized community spirit built on our cultural and recreational assets, and a vibrant real estate market that supports homeowners and affordable housing. So this monumental and generational Austin quality of life plan, it's broken down into 7 issue areas. These issue areas are community narrative, economic development, education, housing, public safety, youth empowerment, and civic engagement. And under each of these issue areas are 84 more specific recommendations that we refer to as actions. Now, some of the actions in the plan include increasing restorative justice activities throughout the community, building a new manufacturing training center in Austin, and preserving and investing in vacant buildings, to name just a few. So over the past 5 years, our goal has been to initiate collaborative action for all 84 of these actions using the task force structure on the right. The issue area task forces are comprised of chairs, strategy leads, and implementation partners. Now, chairs are individuals who provide leadership and overall direction for the task force and its implementation of the Austin Forward Together Plan projects. There typically is 1 to 2 for each of the different issue areas. Then there are strategy leads, who are individuals who mobilize organizations and resources to carry out the 84 actions in the plan. And lastly are implementation partners, which are organizations that are responsible for carrying out outlined tasks to realize the vision and goals outlined in the quality of life plan. Now, next slide. We've had a fair amount of accomplishments over the years, and this is a high level overview, but we've had 47 community leaders comprised of strategy leads and chairs overseeing the plan. We've had 85 organizational partners helping to implement the plan. We've initiated 37 out of the 85 actions, and over $100 million has been invested in AFT implementation. And here you can see like a little photo collage on the right with some pictures highlighting early successes, from Michelle Clark High School being awarded an IB program, to a number of civic engagement forums at the city level, to young people in the community identifying their top priority issue areas and creating their own quality of life plan. So now I'm going to pass it on to Grace about, hey, what's next?
Thanks, Ethan. Great recap. Okay, so we've been referring to the highlighted agenda, and now we're going to talk about what that actually is. So after a lot of reflection and assessment, reflecting on the first 5 years of the quality of life plan, we believe that it's essential to the quality of life plan that it continues to exist in progress, but to enter a new phase based on lessons learned. So in this new phase, we want to sustain and deepen community ownership of the plan and amplify its impact. And one of the ways that we want to do that is to create and implement the highlighted agenda. So what is the highlighted agenda? This is a new approach to more effectively implement the AFT quality of life plan over the next 3 years. So this approach is meant to amplify and optimize the impact across of the whole plan by aligning resources and leveraging expertise from multiple task forces into 10 focus areas. So our goal with this is to have a comprehensive neighborhood-wide action plan created and led by community leaders from across the 7 issue areas for each of these 10 items. So how did we come up with this approach? In the previous slide, Ethan had mentioned that we were able to initiate a little under half of the 84 actions that were outlined in the quality of life plan. And so when we were reflecting on the first 5 years and how far we were able to get through many different planning sessions we had, we decided that instead of creating 84 distinct action plans, which really end up having a lot of overlap and connection between all 84 of those goals, we would cluster the majority of those actions into these 10 focus areas and create an action plan that addresses the goals outlined in several actions instead of taking them on one at a time. So the idea is that this also makes it easier for us to attract investment into 10 solid action plans that are reaching multiple goals instead of trying to attract investment into 84 separate plans. So these 10 focus areas that are on this list are areas where we've either had success and we really want to continue to grow on that momentum, or areas where we see like a strong need to organize around and we want to kickstart planning around. So now we're going to go through each of the 10 and kind of explain a little bit more about what that entails in detail. And I'll pass it to Ethan to start us off.
Thanks, Grace. So the first highlighted agenda item is building resilient commercial corridors. Our goal is to coordinate strategies for Central, North, and Chicago avenues in order to introduce more jobs, commercial opportunities, and investment in the neighborhood. So there are 3 corridor plans developed in Austin. In 2018, North Avenue stakeholders developed a corridor plan between Harlem and Austin Boulevard. Then in 2020, AAA, BNA, and other community partners developed the Soul City Corridor Plan for Chicago Avenue. This plan focuses on guiding development of underutilized land with the goal of promoting Black culture, arts, entertainment, and seeking economic development, job creation, and new development that serves neighborhood residents. And finally, there's the Central Avenue Corridor Plan, which ACT and Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning are about to finalize and publish. The goal of this plan is to enhance Central Avenue so it can serve as the spine of the community that connects all of the sub-neighborhoods with one another. So as we think about equitable community development, it's important that all the groups working on these plans are coordinated to yield the greatest impact. Next, we have advancing the Aspire initiative. Our goals is to build off the development of the Aspire Center for Workforce Innovation and initiate planning for the other projects of the Aspire initiative, which will provide cradle to career supports in Central Austin. As many of you know, the Aspire Center for Workforce Innovation is currently under construction at the corner of Central and Madison and set to open in 2025. By repurposing the former Emmett Elementary School, one of Chicago's many public schools closed in 2014, our goal is for this site to become a top-notch workforce training center. Now, the Aspire Center, next slide. The Aspire Center, however, is not the only part of the Aspire initiative. The initiative as a whole is focused on creating community-supported investments in Central Austin that will support residents at all stages of life. Specifically, these projects collectively are committed to supporting the powerful civic infrastructure in the community, strengthening the cradle-to-career pipeline, and sustaining equitable redevelopment of Austin's built environment. So over the next 3 years, we're committed to ensuring that Austin College and Career Academy is a thriving neighborhood school and that we're creating affordable housing for purchase so that longtime residents have an opportunity to build wealth. Our third item is building out the Austin Workforce Collaborative. Our goal is to collaborate with workforce development providers and other partners to build pathways to living wage careers in Austin. The Austin Workforce Collaborative, or the AWC, is a group of workforce development organizations serving the Austin neighborhood, committed to creating pathways to living wage and upwardly mobile careers for under and unemployed workers in the Austin community. As a collective, we have the following goals. One, the AWC wants to attract investment, build and sustain the capacity of workplace training centers and programs. We also want to make sure that these training centers are doing an effective job at meeting community members' needs and attracting wraparound services for working families. So every year, this group of organizations creates an annual action plans. And we definitely encourage you all to participate in this group if you have a passion and knowledge about workforce development. I'll also add that we see there being more opportunities for collaboration among our community violence intervention partners and workforce training partners through this collaborative. And lastly, hey, if you're a Hub 101 regular, you probably have noticed that every month we have AWC member organizations go on Facebook Live and talk a little bit more about their offerings, which we will continue to do. So with that, I'll pass it back to Grace.
Okay, number 4 on the highlighted agenda is weave restorative justice, or RJ, into the fabric of Austin. The goal being to create an action plan focused on expanding RJ activities throughout the community in order to support relationship building and alternative responses to harm. Okay, so just backing up a little bit, what is restorative justice? So RJ is a traditional indigenous form of justice that promotes healing, accountability, and seeks long-term sustainable solutions to conflict. It addresses issues before they become a problem and is an educational tool that's used to improve the quality of life of the individual as well as the community. RJ practices can actually be reactive and proactive responses to harm. So since the Quality of Life Plan was published, there's been a restorative justice action team focused on using this philosophy in different ways throughout the community, whether that be in schools, on the block, street outreach intervention programs, youth programs. We have a really great core team of restorative justice practitioners that meet on a regular basis. An upcoming goal in the next 3 years is to organize around establishing a restorative justice court in Austin. And this is something that this group has been calling for a while, and is really getting organized around now. So the restorative justice court would be an alternative to the traditional criminal justice system for youth who are first-time offenders with non-violent offenses. So trying to divert our youth away from the prison system and finding more restorative ways for them to resolve conflicts. Okay, number 5, we're halfway through. Number 5 is build lasting youth power. So the goal of this would be to develop strategies that give youth the power to influence recommendations across the entire AFT plan and prioritize youth-led projects that are advancing the AFT vision. So in the past 5 years, there's been a lot of investment into youth programming and infrastructure. You think about the Build campus on Harrison and Laramie, the North Austin Community Center that By the Hand Club was able to develop, the Boys and Girls Club, Michelle Clark has a new sports stadium, a lot of really visible, tangible developments for youth. So with this context, we really want to lean into more projects that are led by young people, activating spaces, having them lead events, just generally having more input in leadership opportunities and how the plan and this highlighted agenda are implemented, and really trying to build out structures to make that happen. Structures that work with youth and their schedules and competing priorities, and really making their input a reality. Also, there is an interest in doing more work around youth civic engagement and political education and having this be a method for youth empowerment. Great. Can go to the next slide. Okay. Number 6 is sustain the Austin Eats initiative. And the goal of this would be to grow the working groups of Austin Eats, emergency food, grocery access, culinary entrepreneurship, gardens and farms, food education, and marketing. This collaborative takes a holistic approach to address the food ecosystem with the goal of achieving a healthier community. Okay, so what is Austin Eats? Austin Eats is a group of about 25 organizations that are working together to change the food landscape and rewrite the narrative around food in Austin by focusing on those 5 working groups that I just mentioned. This group formed back in 2020 during the height of the pandemic to draft a collaborative action plan. And 4 years later, we're ready to revise and update our action plan to build off of the huge success that we've had and the growth that this initiative has had. And we want to make sure that our strategy and our goals are speaking to the current moment. So that's going to be the main focus for Austin Eats, is really like updating our roadmap for the next 3 years. Number 7, develop a mental health initiative. So the goal here is to develop and implement an action plan that holistically addresses mental health for young children, youth, and families by expanding access and education on mental health services. Great. So mental health has been identified as a top priority and a top need for residents through surveys, canvassing, meeting, etc. People are really talking about mental health and how important it is and how it's affecting people of all ages. So we have started convening mental health partners, comprised of both clinicians and advocates, other nonprofits, to be a part of getting started on this action plan. This would be like a whole new group and a whole new action plan. So we came together, did a lot of brainstorming, and really found out that we needed to do some hyper local, like up to date research on mental health and how it's affecting people in Austin and what the services are in Austin. So by the end of this year, or like the top of next year in January, we'll be wrapping up a 6-month research project that we've done in collaboration with the Black Researchers Collective. And the report will outline the mental health needs and assets in the community. So what's happening with the research project is they're having focus groups with Austin residents to get their experiences and perspectives on mental health. And also doing a survey with service providers to understand the offerings and how accessible they really are to residents. And so we will be building a collaborative action plan based off the findings of this research and what gaps we're able to identify. So this flyer up here on the right, the focus groups are actually ongoing. We've already had a few that have gone well, but there are more opportunities for people who live and work in Austin to be able to participate in these focus groups. And this data is going to be really important. So I'll definitely send the flyer out in the follow-up, but yes, look out for that.
Back to me. The next one is launching an early childhood campaign. Our goal is to organize a campaign to educate and engage residents and civic leaders about how to build more just and equitable support systems for young children and their families in Austin. Since the plan was published, there has been a really concerted collaborative effort to provide training and coaching to early education professionals with an emphasis on trauma-informed practice to ensure that children can transition smoothly to kindergarten. Now, our community depends on childcare providers to care for and educate many of our young children while parents are working. Yet childcare providers are some of the most underpaid members in the community. We believe these unsung leaders in Austin are under-recognized, and we want to change that. So we want to work with a diversity of stakeholders to develop and implement a local strategy so that our children, families, and teachers can thrive and not just survive. Okay, the next one. Create a local housing policy. Our goal is to develop local policies that combat rising housing costs to ensure that Austin residents can afford to live and own their homes in the neighborhood and reap the benefits of the Austin Forward Together Quality of Life Plan. In Austin, we know that housing is too expensive. We also know that more accessible housing for residents helps with job stability, vibrant schools, and stronger communities. We'll be taking measures to make sure that long-term residents get a stay in the community. Over the next year, we're committed to developing an action plan around an Austin community land trust. First, promoted during the civil rights movement, community land trusts are organizations that provide access to land and housing to people who otherwise would likely be denied access, and increase long-term community control of neighborhood resources. Community land trusts are committed to balancing the interests of its residents, the broader community, and the public interest to promote wealth building and solutions for community needs. So in order for the community land trust model to be successful long-term in Austin, we'll need support from housing justice advocates, residents, community organizations, and elected officials. And we'll definitely need to advance local policies that invest in more systemic approaches to addressing housing justice issues.
All right, we're on number 10. Coordinate an authentic storytelling campaign. The goal being to create an action plan that focuses on the stories we want to tell about Austin, modes of communication that will reach a larger audience, and strategies to align narratives more closely with the lived experience of the community. I just want to say off the bat that having a community narrative issue area and focusing on a storytelling campaign is really unique with quality of life plans that exist in other neighborhoods. This is one that's really unique to Austin's quality of life plan, so we're really proud for it to be on the highlighted agenda as well. So we know that Austin has several grassroots arts and news media organizations that are doing a great job of showcasing the neighborhood's culture and stories. And with this campaign, we really want to bring those players together to build partnerships that amplify the work that is already being done and help invest in storytelling and arts programming in Austin. And our thought is really to, use these strategies of authentic storytelling through arts and journalism to strengthen bonds, build community, promote creative outlets for residents to share their stories and experiences, and document the current history of Austin. So again, we're going to be looking to bring together media and arts platforms, organizations, leaders, individual artists to build these partnerships to really find out what's working and what needs more investment so that we can strengthen the storytelling and arts and culture community in the neighborhood. Okay. So that was all 10 highlighted agenda items. As you might be thinking, that's a lot of work. It is a lot of work, but it's really important work. And in order for it to be successful, we need a large group of people who are really invested in focusing on getting these action plans off the ground and implementing them. So we really invite everyone listening to this presentation to get involved in some way. So you can definitely contact our team if you are interested or even want to learn more. If you have more questions that might not get answered in the Q&A, please reach out to us. If you want to get involved, we'll set up a one-to-one meeting with you to talk about how, what you're interested in and what role might make sense. So this is a layout of the quality of life plan team at Austin coming together. And you'll see for each of us, there's different focus areas. So if, let's say you're interested in housing policy, you reach out to Ethan. If you're interested in mental health, reach out to me. We kind of have them listed under there. But you can really reach out to any one of us to get your foot in the door and learn more. And we will end up putting you in the right direction. But yeah, we're really excited to be launching this highlighted agenda and are really excited to bring more people into the fold to get this work off the ground. So I think now we'll turn it over for question and answer.
Yeah, Grace and Ethan, great presentation. It's like Grace said, it is now the Q&A portion. So again, if you have questions and you have not dropped them inside of the chat box already, please go ahead and do so. And we'll get started with the first one. Okay, first question is, how did you all determine which 10 areas to put on the highlighted agenda?
Yeah, I can answer that question. It's a really good question. It was a 6-month period of time to kind of hone in on the 10 focus areas. And that was based on a lot of initial evaluation with our research team, as well as a lot of conversations and working sessions with our AFT leaders. And there's a number of criteria that we have to think about where there is both momentum, where there's needed gaps, and lastly, and perhaps most importantly, where there's opportunity for collaboration among partners and different task forces. And that's how we got here.
Great. Thank you for that answer.
The next question we have is, how are you going to do all this in 3 years?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'll try to take that one. It's incredibly, these 10 highlighted agenda items are incredibly ambitious. And one thing that we're currently building out is how to phase action planning over the next 2 years for all 10 highlighted agenda items. So we are not necessarily convening planning groups and action groups for all 10 highlighted agenda items at once. And hopefully that's a pragmatic way to address a very ambitious plan.
Right. And so what happens after those 3 years? Would it be like more planning? What is the vision after those 3 years are complete?
Yeah, I think we'll do the same thing that we did after 5 years with the original quality of life plan. We're going to sit down with the AFT leaders, the Austin Forward Together Quality of Life Plan community leaders, as well as our research team to evaluate our successes and the progresses made from the past 3 years. And we'll either, create another highlighted agenda item, or maybe we'll be at a point where we, create a whole nother quality of life plan. There's a number of different options or routes we can take, but we'll definitely take the time to address lessons learned and evaluate our successes and our, where we haven't been as successful, our challenges.
And can you give us some examples of successes from the first 5 years?
Yeah, I can say a few, and then Grace, feel free to say a few, but I think our successes have been, some of them have been small, some of them have been very large scale. I would say the construction and development of the Aspire Center for Workforce Innovation is a monumental achievement. I think we've had aldermanic forums, we've had district council forums, we've had aldermanic and mayoral forums. Sorry if I said those already. So we've done a lot of civic engagement. We've spearheaded workforce training bus tours to expose people to different workforce training opportunities. There was the creation of the Austin Garden Collective, who convenes and supports the maintenance of all the various gardens and farms in the neighborhood. We've collectively, we've worked together with a lot of the restorative justice practitioners to make sure we're hosting peace circles throughout the community. I can honestly go on and on, but I think, we are seeing that there is real movement around having a community grassroots supported grocery store in the neighborhood, as well as a growing and blossoming farmers market. So it really ranges across our 7 issue areas, but I'm proud to say that we've had a lot of successes. Grace, if there's anything else you'd like to add, feel free to.
No, I totally agree. There's successes of different in different issue areas and of different sizes. I think you've covered a lot of them. There's also been increased training for early education providers to get higher credentials to earn higher wages. The Central Avenue corridor plan has been up and going and almost published. So that's another success, like a whole new corridor plan. I also want to highlight that we've been able to get funds from philanthropy to re-grant out to our implementation partners to move forward actions in the plan. So that's been a success to see that funders are looking at the plan and wanting to invest funds because they see the value of having like a cohesive neighborhood plan. We've seen that with a couple of different funders. So yeah, a lot of different successes.
Okay. Are there any updates available on collective data points from the initial quality of life plan report?
Yeah, so if I'm understanding the question correctly, we did have a like an initial assessment around like the impact of the quality of life plan that we then presented at our Austin Forward Together Community Summit back in March. And since then, our research and evaluation team has been is underway on like basically a year-long assessment of kind of what have been the successes where we've seen quality of life improvements. So more of that information will be coming in the near future.
Great, great.
How have priorities for Thrive 2025 shifted, if at all?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, and I think just like the Austin Forward Together plan is under, evaluation for the past 5 years, my understanding is that Thrive 2025 is also under that evaluation period. And so I think how the priorities are shifted will be coming, will also be coming soon. I will name, there have been small shifts, like even around like living wage careers was one of the big indicators for Thrive 2025. And what was considered living wage careers, we have updated over the years as that number has changed, what it means to have a living wage career.
Okay. What initiatives does ACT foresee being a priority today and beyond 2025?
Can you say that one more time? I was distracted by Grace being off the call.
Okay, so what initiatives does ACT foresee being a priority today and beyond 2025?
Yeah, I mean, this is not a super probably gratifying answer, but I think the highlighted agenda is going to be the Austin Forward Together Quality of Life Plan priorities for the next 3 years. So a little bit past 2025. Yeah.
What gaps do you believe exist in community partnering?
We have a lot of this is why I stay in the work, like just how strong our network of partners is, from block clubs to larger institutions like Malcolm X College. So we have partners focusing on all of our various issue areas, which is amazing. And I think we're always looking for more partners that are willing to do the work. And in this case, we're looking for partners that really are excited to address the 10 highlighted agenda items and willing to engage and have one-to-ones with any organizations that see that they have a role in implementing that vision.
Thank you, Ethan. And the next question is, how does the average person on the block benefit from all of this?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just use an example. I think I'll give 2 examples. One is you can now go every Thursday from 1 to 6 to the farmers market and get high quality, affordable, healthy produce. And not just that, also vendors that are selling prepared food, live music, and just community. So in a very tangible way, we've seen like increases in access to healthy food. And the same can be said around Austin Harvest, that they opened their brick and mortar grocery store back in August, and now 3 days a week you can buy just this amazing food. I just got Brussels sprouts from Austin Harvest. So that's very tangible, and again, at reasonable prices, which is amazing. And then, I mean, the Aspire Center for Workforce Innovation, yes, you can participate in the workforce training opportunities, but there's also going to be these beautiful state-of-the-art public spaces that you'll be able to access, and that's a beautiful thing. I know in planning we call them third places, places beyond your home and work where you can hang out, have a meal, talk to a friend, and I'm excited about that.
And where can we find a copy of this?
Well, the short answer is you can reach out in the short term. You can reach out to me, Grace, and Arewa for a copy of the highlighted agenda. We have a one-pager, and it will, if it's not already, it will be on our website. But yeah, and then we have physical copies that we will be handing out all over the neighborhood.
I also believe the last Austin Weekly News had a special section in there that talked about the highlighted agenda and all the 10 items as well. So you can look in the newspaper as well. But it should definitely be on our website soon.
Great, great. Now, in working through this plan, were any of the 10 items considered to be controversial? And what, if so, what was omitted? If you can answer that.
It's a good question. Well, sorry, I'm slow to respond. Nothing controversial that I remember about the 10 highlighted agenda items we honed in on. I think the harder part is, we're dealing with this, monumental quality of life plan with 84 actions. And so wanting to make sure that, I think people always want to make sure that important actions aren't being left out of the highlighted agenda. But I think we built consensus over a lot of workshops to get to this place. Grace, will you have any other answer to that? I hope I'm answering it appropriately.
No, I agree. I think that we haven't been, no one so far has reacted with any big red flags or controversies around it. And I think that's because we did really take the time to assess what had happened the first 5 years with the quality of life plan. We had a lot of sessions with AFT leaders where we were talking about the highlighted agenda and, making sure that they, approved of it, and we did voting process around it and all of that. So I think that, these aren't just 10 things that we just came up with that we wanted to put on here. These all came from work that has been done or work that, people identified as needing to be done. So that's why I think we haven't necessarily gotten any, confusing or, red flag reactions to it.
Great. Thank you for that answer.
And someone would like to know who can they contact regarding joining Austin Eats.
You can contact me. My email is gcooper@austincomingtogether.org. I know that they are going to send out our contact in the follow-up to the session, but that's my email. You can reach out to me. Happy to have a phone call and just hear about your interest in skills around food access. And we meet on a monthly basis. The door is open for anyone that wants to come and join that initiative. So
great. The next question is, what housing legislation can we support? So if someone wants to know how they can support the housing.
Yeah, I can answer that in a couple ways. And I think one is, I think part of the action planning process with our work will be able to really hone in on what are the local policies that we can collectively organize around at the local level. So still a lot to be determined. Now, that being said, I think there are some very, I think it's called policy wonky stuff around community land trusts. That at the state level, it's a lot about making sure that if affordable housing is a priority, that money is being invested into these less traditional forms of housing. So a lot of it is around making sure that there's money allocated in the budget to go towards these really important solutions to the housing crisis. There's also, work to be done around property taxes and making sure that folks aren't getting priced out of their community because of property taxes, unfairly high property taxes.
Thank you for that answer, Ethan.
And how does the Thrive program relate to the quality of life / highlighted agenda program?
Yeah, I can answer that. The quality of life plan and the highlighted agenda, the stewards over the years of this plan has been Austin Coming Together, but ultimately it was developed by a steering committee and then implemented by task forces comprised of leaders and organizations throughout the community. And so in essence, it's the community plan. We're all accountable for making it successful. Thrive 2025 is a little bit different because it's Austin Coming Together's strategic plan. So it is an organizational plan that Austin Coming Together is ultimately responsible for accomplishing. That being said, they of course intersect.
Gotcha. I'm following you. I hope that answered everybody's questions. I believe that was the last question. Again, thanks again, you guys. Great presentation. I hope everybody was able to walk away with something tangible today and learn something new. You can go ahead and register for our next Hub 101 right now, which will be on November 5th with our partners at Impact Culinary. Feel free to share the event on Facebook Live with friends, family members, and neighbors. And Grace.
Yeah, I just want to add one thing before we finish, which is that we are really looking to give this presentation and share the highlighted agenda to as many groups and residents as possible. We're saying we're taking it on tour. There's a lot of different community meetings and groups that we want to present this to. And if you are interested in having us come to your organization or your block club or, anyone, please reach out to us. We're really prioritizing getting the word out about this. We want people to be familiar with it, ask questions, and as many people get involved. So again, just reach out to any of us. Our contact will be sent out again. If you want us to come and give a presentation, we're happy to do, a short version or a long version, depending on time. And again, hand out those one-pagers about the agenda that we have.
Yes, and like we mentioned earlier, the Hub is here to connect you to different resources. And my goal is to work with you to find out what service best benefits you. So if you put down that you're looking to connect with the Hub, I'll be reaching out to you to better provide you with different type of resources that you may be looking for as well.
Great. Thank you again. If you all want to learn more about that highlighted agenda, reach out to Grace. Like she said, they're on tour. So please reach out. Again, register now for the November 5th Hub 101. Have it up there on the screen right now. And until next time, again, thank you, Ethan and Grace. Great presentation. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.